Hello and welcome to Alumni Field in Ann Arbor, Michigan for another presentation of WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball. I'm Alex Drain, joined today by Lucas Vargas for Michigan versus Michigan State in the fall ball exhibition matchup. The fifth and final contest in this fall exhibition slate. Michigan's had a rough go of things so far, but looking to end things on the right note here today against a rival.
Hey, man, it's just great to be back in Alumni Field no matter what, and it's a beautiful fall afternoon. We're going to see some Big Ten softball a little early today.
First pitch is a little down and outside from Sarah Schaefer. We'll go through the lineups in just a moment. She's facing Katie Ladd right now, is Sarah Schaefer, the junior pitcher for the Wolverines. Winds up and ready to deliver the 1-0. That one fouled back. Lineup for Michigan State, Katie Ladd leading off, followed by Erica Holt, then Lainey Joyner, Mackenzie Meach, Kennedy Wiley, Caitlin Hendershot, Katie Quinlan, Jenny Walsh, and Abby Joseph, 1 through 9. And for Michigan, Sarah Schaefer in the circle. Hannah Carson is the backstop. In the infield, left to right, Taylor Bump, Natalia Rodriguez, Julia Jimenez, and then Lou Allen. There's a called strike 1 and 2 on Ladd. In the outfield, left to right, it's LeClaire, Blair, and Hoganrod left to right. And now waiting on the 1-2. Checking the wristband is Schaefer, spins the ball in the right hand, twists, winds up, and delivers the pitch. That one just a tad high, 2 and 2. Absolutely beautiful day out here.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's that perfect time of the year in October, right before things start to get cold, right after things are hot, and we've got to enjoy it while we can, Alex.
66 degrees, the game time temperature here at Alumni Field. The wind up in the pitch, that one just a little down and away. Now the count runs full on Katie Ladd. This is a Michigan State team that definitely struggled last year, 16 and 34 on the season, and they lost some key pieces in the offseason trying to get things going, but they did defeat Michigan in a tight affair up in East Lansing. There's a swing and a little blooper into right field. Coming on Hoganrod, she dives, and it's just off the glove. Rolls over against the wall. They're waving around second, heading into third. Throw over, not in time. And that will go down. I don't know how they're going to score that one. It's not a conventional triple, and Hoganrod very close to making one of her patented diving plays, but it just went off the glove and not able to get over there in time to make the play. Jimenez was tracking over after the dive was unsuccessful. Michigan State gets a hit and a runner on third to lead things off.
And for Sarah Schaefer, she is firmly stuck in that very talented pitching rotation that the Wolverines have, so these kind of outings are important.
There's
for
a
her
pitch,
to be able to stand out. And, it's a hard hit ball into the outfield, and Hoganrod just not able to make a play on it, but this is the kind of opportunity that Schaefer's got to show some stuff in order to stand out heading into the season.
Wind up, and the pitch, swinging a line drive, foul. That'll go down now 1-1. As Erica Holt strides in with Ladd on third, it's marked up as a triple, which makes sense. You're not scrutinizing the scoring in fall ball too heavily. Holt, freshman outfielder from Newport, California, standing at 5'3". That's a rather unusual place for Michigan State to be drawing recruits out of, given their general talent level, but a nice get. There's a swing and a tapper over to short. Looking the runner back at third was Jimenez, then makes the easy play over to first, holding the runner on, and that'll go down as the first out, a 4-3 put out.
And that is a nice little hold by Jimenez to look over at third, knew she had time, calmly collects the ball and delivers to first. So no advancement from third base, able to get one out on the board now.
That brings up Lainey Joyner. Schaefer quickly winds up, delivers the pitch, swing and a tapper over to third. This won't do the job either. Double clutching, throwing is Taylor Bump and getting her by a step. Nice play over there at third by Taylor Bump. Not her normal position. She played a lot of first last season, but Maddie Uden not in the lineup today. Not sure if that is just a general move or an injury concern. Obviously, you want to get everybody involved. We expect a lot of pinch hitters today. And so you have Bump, the junior, playing an unusual position, but she makes a fine play for the out.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity just to get everybody coached up, get them in different roles. You never know where you're going to need people during the season at, so got to get them ready.
There's a swing and a line drive back to the screen. 0-1. Schaefer in the pitching circle, which you mentioned, a very talented pitching staff, was one of the best in the conference last season with Alex Duraco and Megan Bobian. They add a very highly touted recruit in Chandler Dennis out of Georgia in this recruiting class, and then you already have Schaefer. So a deep, deep group as the 0-1 swing and a line drive base hit into left field. That'll get the run home, and Michigan State takes an early 1-0 lead as Mackenzie Meach knocks in the first run of the game.
And this is a very confident swing by Meach, just timing it up perfectly and getting it over the second base gap. Michigan State able to score early, but Schaefer hasn't been able to find location in this zone quite yet. A lot of contact on these pitches, so Michigan State's getting a good jump on it.
And there's another swing and a foul back by Kennedy Wiley. The catcher for Michigan State stands in. 1 run home, 2 outs in the inning. 1-0 Michigan State on top in the top of the first of this exhibition matchup. Got Michigan baseball doing some drills over there in Ray Fisher. They've got an exhibition game in a couple weeks as well. There's a swing and a chopper foul, and the count runs to 0-2. This is, as we talk about sometimes, it's an unusual thing where most sports you get the exhibition about a week before the season. But in softball and baseball, you get the exhibitions months and months before the season, almost 4 entire months before Michigan will play first. In early February, we're playing this game. So a lot of changes will happen before February.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the teams that we're seeing tonight aren't going to be the same team really at all that we'll see down in spring. Just so much growth and development will take place over that time. Roles will change, all that kind of stuff. And you're right, it is a lot different. We speak on some of the other sports, basketball especially.
Yeah.
You know, you usually get like a closed-door scrimmage, which nobody really knows about. And then you get the one public exhibition, and then
there's a swing and a miss, but that one goes between the legs of Carson, and she's not going to have a play. That's going to be reaching on a strikeout, Kennedy Wiley on the wild pitch. And so still 2 outs in the inning now, 2 aboard for Caitlin Hendershot. An unfortunate turn of events as Schaefer finally got that swing and a miss you were looking for, but just not able to corral it. Hannah Carson, the new catcher, she was thrust into action in the NCAA tournament when Katie Alexander went down in Game 1 of the Ann Arbor Regional, and Carson really held her own against a JMU team that was very, very good and ended up knocking Michigan out in 3 games. Carson, a lot of expectations for her as that one is swung on and hit into left field, but backing up and making the play is Audrey LeClaire for the 3rd out of the inning. So some base runners get aboard, 2 hits, 2 left, and Michigan State gets 1. We'll go to the bottom of the first.
We got a chance to see some of the new faces for Michigan softball be active there in that first inning, so we'll see what kind of contributions they make offensively as well over the course of the game.
Well, this is a young Michigan team, something I was thinking about earlier, and that you look down the lineup today, Hoganrod, the only starter who is a senior, and obviously Uden, we expect to start, will be a senior as well, but you're talking of the lineup they're probably going to roll out in February, maybe 2 seniors starting, and none of the pitchers are seniors. So this is a team that is really got some nice pieces to build around. If you think about Lexi Blair coming back as a sophomore, Megan Bobian only a junior, Storako only a sophomore, and then they bring in the number 4 recruiting class in the country. So a lot of optimism here at Alumni Field.
Yeah, absolutely, and I don't think that youth is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you have to think about it in context when you talk about young teams versus old teams. I mean, you can have old teams where players really aren't that experienced on the actual field of play. You can have younger teams where, you know, you played a lot when you were really young, like freshman year or sophomore year, and so you are kind of a seasoned vet already by the time that you're a sophomore or junior. And I think that's kind of the category that Michigan falls under right now, when they had so many key contributors last year that were really young, And so they've already got that season under their belt. They know what to expect, and they know what it's gonna take to be really, really good. And now they have that opportunity to come in as young leaders. But you're right, the team will have youth, but it's still a great opportunity for this team to capitalize on the talent that it has.
And so now we get ready to go here in the bottom of the first inning. The pitcher for Michigan State is Allie Walker. This was an MSU team that really struggled pitching-wise last season after they lost their star senior, Christina Zalewski, from the preceding season, who was the factor in knocking Michigan out of the Big Ten tournament twice in 2 seasons in both 17 and 18. Zalewski departed, and they really just did not have anyone to answer last season. Allie Walker was perhaps the best of that staff with an ERA over 5, looking to build and improve this season. There's a pitch high, 1-1 on the star sophomore now, Lexi Blair.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Alex, we did that game when it was, 17 to 2?
24-2 was the final score in that one against Toledo, yep.
Score got away from me a little bit there.
Yeah. And there's a pitch a little high, 2-1.
No, but we did the Michigan State
That's
one
right,
too.
that's right. Now,
Yeah.
it was 24-2 against Toledo, and I think 17-1 maybe against
that's
MSU.
Right.
Yeah, let me look. We did both of those.
Uh-huh.
Both of the bloodiest
marathon
blowouts.
games, man.
Yeah. There's a pitch high, 2-1 on Blair. Wind up, and the delivery, that one way high off the glove of the catcher, Wiley. Wiley, the catcher. Joyner, Wash, Ladd, and Hendershot left to right in the infield. Joseph, Holt, and Quinlan left to right in the outfield. Let me pull that up.
Anyway, 17-1, 17-2. It doesn't really make much of a difference. The point was that the pitching was atrocious from the Michigan State Spartans. And
it was 16-1 in 5 innings.
Okay, so close enough. But
my memory of that game was, remember that towering home run that Mackenzie Nemitz hit? I mean, it almost cleared that right field bleachers. It was a windy, cold day, too.
Oh, we were freezing, remember?
Yeah, it was
We were
cold.
outside.
Yep. Well, that game was on FS1, one of the few FS1 softball games last year. 3-1 to Blair, swinging a pop-up foul, arcing and out of play.
Oh, yeah, good times, man, good times. Back at it now.
Blair steps out of the batter's box, now ready to dig back in. Coming in down the line is Joyner ever so slightly in a 3-2 count. Wind up the pitch, swinging a tapper. This one back up the middle over to second base, and Blair's going to beat it out down there to first. Not able to make the play is Katie Ladd, and Lexi aboard with an infield single using that speed.
Good speed, exactly, and she's going to have a heck of a year as the leadoff hitter for this team.
Well, and it's hard to follow up what she did last year when you hit 406 as a freshman, which to my knowledge was the only Michigan freshman to hit 400 in the last 20 years. So it's it's a tough way to expect to improve from when you're in the top 10 in batting average in your first season.
You know what they say, the standard is the standard, Alex.
Yep. So in steps Natalia Rodriguez. She swings and a miss. Blair down to second. She will get in there just under the tag. It was a close play down there at second, but Blair steals second base. And already runner on second and nobody out in this inning. And by the way, we should mention, sitting just 3 rows in front of us, Katie Alexander.
All the
back to watch her
all the alumni
team.
are back.
Yeah.
I've seen a few in the stands.
Blair down there at second. 0-1 on the way to Rodriguez. She shows bunt, pulls it back 1-1. We knew about the bunting prowess of Rodriguez last year. Hit .303, 1 home run and 1 double. Those were her first 2 extra base hits of her career. Still mostly a singles hitter, but showed more than just being a defensive ace last season. 1-1 on the way, shows bunt again. This one just dies right in front of home plate. Perfectly executed. The sacrifice works. Rodriguez thrown out at first. Blair on down to third with 1 out in the inning.
Yeah, that dirt by home plate's got to be very watered down or something. I've never seen a bunt just die like that.
Yeah, that was very, very well played. And now up steps Lou Allen, who we've talked about as somebody who just needs 1 healthy off season. She's eluded her first 2 years at Michigan, but trying to finally get that this offseason. Looks healthy right now and stands in there ready to swing. Takes that pitch for a strike on the outside edge.
Yep, she's someone that I think both of us have been waiting to really see for the last 2 years and haven't quite got that chance. Seen some glimpses, but hoping to get to see the full picture this season.
0-1 is a little high. Well, in both seasons, we've seen great plate discipline, and we've seen improving production at the plate, but then the season ends. And she was getting better and better at the end of 18 and then had another injury in the offseason, then was really starting to play well as the season went on. And there's a base hit down the left field line, a big high hopper over the head of the third baseman Joyner. Lou is aboard, and she knocks in the run to tie the game at 1 apiece. She was doing a lot of that right before the season ended. Had that double in the Big Ten championship game, helped to win that game, and continues where she left off with an RBI single.
I gotta get some speed on base pass now.
Yep, it's going to be Grace Schelleman coming in, something we saw quite frequently last year.
Yep.
Schelleman had just 7 at-bats last season, but scored 10 runs due to her capabilities as a pinch runner.
Seeing that 3-point stance.
Yeah.
Out of the runners this time, Alex.
We didn't see that as much last season. As Bump stands in, there's another high hopper and an exact replay of the Allen hit. And they are just abusing the rather short stature of the third baseman Joyner with these balls that are just evading her leaping glove for base hits. And now 2 are aboard as Taylor Bump hits that one for the single. 2 on and still only 1 out in the inning as Morgan Overitis gets ready to stand in. And Overitis is somebody we did see a fair bit last season. 51 at-bats, hit .255, and showed some good power. Looking to see more from her as that first pitch is a little high, 1-0. Had 1 double, 1 home run. 7 walks, a .361 on-base percentage, and she'll be asked to really step in to a larger role this season. There's another pitch high, 2-0. As a designated player today, that might be a hint of where she will play this season. You could also see here theoretically playing first if Lou Allen moves to designated player. Trained as a second baseman, she might not have a spot at that job as she takes another ball, 3-0, because of the batter on deck, Julia Jimenez, a very talented infield prospect.
Yeah, I got to tell you, these 3-point stances the base runners are taking for Michigan really looks a lot like what Indiana did last year.
Yes. There's a pitch a little down and away, and that's a 4-pitch walk. Aboard is Overitis and already struggling Allie Walker, and now she has to face Jimenez with the bases loaded and only 1 out.
I think Indiana led the Big Ten in stolen bases by a mile.
Yeah.
And that was all their base runners did, was just get down, and they got in a 4-point stance.
Yeah.
And as soon as that pitch was gone, they were already halfway to the next base. And I wonder if maybe we took a look at some of that film and maybe are trying to replicate it in some way, shape, or form.
Well, this is a Michigan team that has been faster in recent years, as opposed to the more powerful.
Speed and space.
Yeah. As opposed to the more powerful teams of the Sierra Romero era. Aggressive on the base pass in the last 2 seasons, and perhaps trying to build on that. Here's Julia Jimenez. She steps in and takes that first pitch. A strike at the knees. Jimenez, a freshman from Fontana, California. Plenty of accolades in high school, and the number 20 prospect overall in the country out of Flow softball. The highest rated recruit in Michigan's star-studded recruiting class, and obviously starting today looks like she will have an opportunity to contribute heavily as a freshman, as there's a pitch high and outside. Dropped out of the glove of Wiley, but not enough to advance any runners with the bases loaded, 1-1. And as peers in, as Allie Walker looks over into the dugout. Walker, a rather tall pitcher, and Jimenez fouls that one back, 1-2.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how these freshmen adjust to the college level pitching. I mean,
yeah,
albeit not the best that they're facing right now, but still an adjustment to make, and always going to be different when you see another pitcher that you're not used to at practice. It is a little bit of an adjustment, but it's still early.
1-2 count. Jimenez has got to be in plate protection mode right now. There's a pitch, just a little high, 2-2. The outfielder staring straight into the sun, using their gloves to try and see, as the shadows will be a factor within the next hour. 2-2 pitch swung on and tapped over to first base. This one gloved. They're going to throw home, but it's a bad throw. Slips out of the hands of the first baseman, Hendershot. It will score a run. Everybody moves up, and it's 2-1 Michigan.
Yeah, just an awful throw. I mean,
yeah, it just looked like a bad grip.
Yeah, definitely did not get a hold on it, and it's almost like she hesitated a little bit too, trying to pull it, and as a result, just you either got to throw it or you're not, and instead it just dribbled over to the catcher.
Well, and it was not going to be the easiest play. You have a force at home, and she probably would have gotten the play if she hadn't fumbled it, which is why she's given an error on the play. But with the speed of Schelleman coming down the line, that was going to need to be an accurate throw to make the play, and it was far from it, perhaps a little rushed on that delivery. And in steps Hannah Carson. Carson, the catcher we talked about a little bit earlier, thrust into duty in the postseason and proved herself well, as there's a called strike, 1-1. It's a highly touted recruit coming in last season from the Mount Pleasant area. 2-1, Michigan on top here in the bottom of the first at Alumni Field. 1-1 count on Carson, bases loaded. She swings and taps that one just foul down the first base side.
Trying to get it down that first base line and put Michigan State into another position where they got to make a decision on where they want to go with the force out.
1-2 count. Carson steps out of the batter's box and ready to dig back in. There's a swing and a foul up into the sky. It looked like it was going to get out, and it does. Bouncing just behind the seated folks in the front row. This is now the second straight year that Michigan has played at Alumni Field in the fall ball, and they have gotten just perfect weather. Last year, a game against Michigan State that I did was very good weather, and yet again here today. You never know what you're going to get in early October, but they have definitely lucked out. The windup, the pitch, that one a little high.
I feel like the weather always saves the bad games for the spring when you actually need it to be good weather.
Yes.
But you know what? We'll take this kind of day when we can get it. American flag blowing in the outfield.
2-2 count, swing and a tapper. This one just right down the first baseline, going to be gloved. Tag applied, and they'll get the out at first base, but a run scores. Carson will pick up an RBI, hypothetical RBI in the exhibition season, but scores the run all the same. 3-1, Michigan on top now, 2 outs in the bottom of the first.
Well, that's another interesting decision because it looked like it was going to roll out maybe at some point, but you pick it up and you take the one out for the one run. At that point, I mean, it's a decision you have to make very quickly, but I thought that ball might have rolled out of bounds.
Yeah, it's always a gutsy situation. You have to stand in there and kind of make that decision, because sometimes they just die in fair territory and you get burned. So first pitch high to Audrey LeClaire, another one of these freshmen that we'll be talking some about. LeClaire wearing Faith Canfield's old number 25. Going to be hard for me to get used to that as she swings, taps this one right back to the mound. There's no force at home, and Walker had to realize that, then throws over for the out, and that will end the inning. But Michigan scratches 3 across, and they lead by 2 runs as we go to the top of the second. Michigan 3, Michigan State 1. You're listening to Michigan softball on WCBN Sports.
It's a great job applying pressure as well from all those batters from Michigan, just having opportunities with the bases loaded, capitalizing for 3 runs, and then still able to make the Spartan defense work at the end.
So now headed back out there is Schaefer for another inning of work. This is, we mentioned at the top, the 5th exhibition game of this fall, and has not gone the smoothest for Michigan yet, but they're looking to end things on the right note. They played a 3-game set against Kentucky here at Alumni Field, and ended up dropping all 3 of those games, but they were all very tight, very competitive. Michigan probably should have won the 3rd one on Sunday, but some things just didn't go their way in the end. But I said this in our private softball media group chat, that I'd much prefer to be swept by Kentucky than to pound up on Central Michigan in, the fall season. I mean, Kentucky is a program that consistently hosts regionals and that kind of stuff. You always say iron sharpens iron, and that has been the approach to the schedule here in the fall.
Yeah, I mean, you know where I stand on things like that is that if you're going to play games that, no one can really even remember the score, the stats aren't kept, right, doesn't impact any record, you're not going to win a championship in your fall ball games, you got to go out there and see what kind of competition you're going to aspire to be playing.
Yeah.
And Kentucky is one of those teams that is very, very good, has set a good standard that you want to be able to compare yourself to in the NCAA tournament. And, playing, a team that is you know that you're going to beat up on, it's just not worth your time in the fall if you have goals of winning championships.
Yeah. First pitch low to Katie Quinlan. Takes the second one also a little low, just below the knees, 2-0. The crowd, I guess, didn't get the memo that it's a nice day out. A lot of folks in coats and blankets right in front of us. I get there in the shade, but I was wearing a short sleeve shirt today, and it's perfect weather out walking in. 2-0. There's a swing and a tapper over to short. Going to have to be a quick play. Rodriguez does not make it. That one is way wide into the Michigan dugout, and they'll give the second base to Katie Quinlan as the ball went out of play.
And if that ball doesn't go out of play, I mean, that might be an extra base, and they're actually going to give it to her. So.
Yeah. Or no, she's just handing off the elbow pad there.
Could have given it to her, I think. I mean, that easily could have gone for a triple, if not more, off of that errant throw.
Going to mark it down, I assume, as a single and then an E6. I'm giving it a straight-up E6 because I think that play would have been made if it's an accurate throw. But regardless, runner now on second and nobody out. This is the second straight inning that a runner is in scoring position with nobody out to lead off the frame. Bunt shown, pulled back, and it's a little inside.
And Schaefer's still just not able to get very many strikes going in her favor. I mean, just every one of her pitches is really getting made contact with one way or another.
Yeah.
She's got to find that location in the zone.
1-0 the count. Schaefer checks the wristband. Twists, winds up, and delivers the pitch. Swing and a ground ball right back to the mound. Throws over to first. They got to play at third potentially, but getting in there speedily was Katie Quinlan. Right after Schaefer turned the back to throw to first. Off from second was Quinlan, so she moves up with the productive out. And now there's one out in the inning, bringing up the number 9 hitter, Abby Joseph.
And Michigan's done a good job of kind of holding base runners where they are for the Spartans, but unable to do so that time. Great speed by Quinlan to get from second to third.
So now with one out, there's a called strike at the knees to Abby Joseph. That one
a framework
held a long time by Hannah Carson, finally getting the call. 0-1 the count. Michigan pulls the infield in run prevention mode here against Joseph, the sophomore. Swinging a tapper right over to first. They're going to go tag her. They've got a pickle at third, and no play is going to be made. Grabbed by Allen at first. She tagged the runner in the base path, then threw home to Carson as the base runner, Quinlan, from third was halfway down the line, but she quickly turned around with the rather small base path. No play was able to be made, so getting back in there is Joseph, but the pulled infield gets the out and prevents the run. Now 2 outs, and they can move back and set things up. Another opportunity for Schaefer to get out of the inning. First pitch swung on, tap foul by Katie Ladd. Ladd tripled her first time up on a play that Hogan Rod almost came up with in right field. Quinlan on third, 2 outs, top of the second, 3-1 Michigan on top. Oh, 1 on its way, swinging a line drive right to third base. Gloved there by Taylor Bump. She throws across for the out, and not a natural third baseman, at least in college softball, but she makes a fine defensive play over there at third to end the inning. Michigan will strand a Spartan, and we'll go to the bottom of the second. Still 3-1 Wolverines on top. What a play there.
That's the kind of play that will give a coach confidence to put her there if they need to. Great play by Taylor Bump, and she's also looking to have an increased role this season.
Yeah. Screamer off the bat, one-hopped it, and made the throw across the diamond for the out. Bumped somebody who's had some opportunities her first 2 years and has not been able to solidify an everyday role, but looking to do that this upcoming season. Michigan is replacing some bats who made some impacts last season. Obviously, Katie Alexander, who we talked about. And then you have Alex Subject, who had a fine season as a senior. Mackenzie Nemitz started most of the year, and Lou Allen had more or less overtaken her by the time the NCAA tournament had started, but she was productive. Natalie Peters, a fine defensive player for all 4 seasons in center field. That's someone who needs to be replaced as best as possible. And then you lose a 400 hitter perennially in Faith Canfield. So there are some hitting pieces that are gone, but that's why you bring in a top-tier freshman class. Blasty, the Stormtrooper, is out observing the game down there with his usual cape on.
Looks like he brought one of his buddies, too. Some other Stormtrooper-looking dude out there.
Yeah. Blue skies all around, a little wind here as we get set to start the bottom of the second inning. MLB playoffs are on right now. Braves and Cardinals. You want to guess what the score is in that one? It's in the first inning.
It's like, I'll go with like 7-1 or something, Cardinals.
Yeah, 10-0 Cardinals. There's a swing and a ground ball right over to short on the first pitch. Hoganrod, the throw over, and it pulled the first baseman off the bag. The throw from Jenny Wash a little high and to the left. Leaping up to try and make the play was Hendershot, and that is a very, very nice call over there at first base by the umpire, spying that those toes just did go off the bag as Hoganrod thundered down the line. That will go down as an E6. The second error on the Spartans today puts a Michigan runner aboard with nobody out in the bottom of the second.
What a surprise that an Atlanta sports team is absolutely blowing it in a game that they need to win.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought? Who could have possibly imagined that? At home, too, right?
Yep.
Jeez.
There's a strike at the knees to Lexi Blair. Well, at least the Atlanta Thrashers can't blow leads anymore.
Also, like, I mean, this is unrelated to anything we've been talking about right now, but how did the Tampa Rays, like, get good? I mean, come on. Like, and what are the Astros doing?
Yeah.
Just come on. Unreal.
0-1 count on Lexi Blair. She swings, lines this one into right field, but straight at the right fielder, Quinlan. That's a hard hit ball, but will go down as a line out to right.
I mean, somehow Tropicana Field has turned into this, like, madhouse, dangerous place to go play or something. I mean,
Cowbell City.
That place, have you seen that place from the outside?
I have been in it.
Just a hunk of concrete. I mean, it was maybe the least creative thing I've ever seen in my life. But somehow it's turned into a tough place to play. And I really don't understand how the Braves, well, the Braves are bad, but how the Rays got good, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Going to have a meeting in the circle now. Jackie Joseph heads out there to talk with her defense. The runner on first and one out here in the bottom of the second. 3-1 Michigan on top. Well, and how about the Minnesota Twins losing 16 straight playoff games?
I mean, it's
unbelievable.
It's like whoever could have guessed that the Minnesota Twins would once again not get it done in the playoffs.
It's one thing to perpetually lose. I mean, what the A's do in the playoffs is mystifying in some ways because they always get to a game 5.
It's like
or
another thing to not compete at all.
But yeah, but for the Twins to be swept every time they make the playoffs for 15 years is unbelievable, especially in a sport like baseball where the best teams only have a 60% winning percentage. I mean, this is not a sport where the teams are as dominant as they are in the NBA or in the NFLs. There's a first pitch strike to Rodriguez.
I mean, look, I get it. I get it if you're the Twins and you just have like a little team meeting or something, say, hey, we're going to do our best in the regular season, do what we can, and then
there's a pitch high, and that one gets away from the catcher, and over down to second goes Hoganrod. Wiley unable to grab that one.
And then at that team meeting, you say, all right, but the deal is that we are not going to do good in the playoffs because we do not want to play when it's cold outside or something like that. I mean,
yeah.
I get it if you don't want to play in the World Series in November outdoors in Minnesota, but they should probably be upfront with that and just tell the fans that that's what they're going to do.
1-1 count. Hoganrod in that 3-point stance over at second base. There's a swing and a pitch on a ball that Rodriguez way out in front of and pokes it foul. 1-2. Spartans wearing the all-green uniforms with the white socks. Michigan wearing the white tops with the blue sleeves and the blue pants, blue socks.
No lime green today.
1-2 count. Wind up the pitch and swing and a miss. That's a nice off-speed delivery to get that first out, or second out of the inning, rather. Hoganrod still standing at second as Lou Allen gets ready to step in. She had an RBI single her first time up. That's the first strikeout of the game for the Spartans. Pitcher Allie Walker. Walker from Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. And Allen swings, hits this one right over to third, similar to her first ball. But that one is thrown away by the third baseman. Gets into right field, and the run will score. Some woeful Spartan defense right now. Joyner's throw, one hop and a bad pick attempt by Hendershot gets into right field. And the not-so-speedy Allen able to reach. The runner scores, and it's 4-1.
The errors are just piling up at this point, and as a result, so are the runs for Michigan.
Hoganrod reaches on an E6, advances on a wild pitch, and scores on an E5. Rough here in this bottom of the second. But as we talk about, with this being played so early, sometimes you get rust from the summer, sometimes you just have a lot of things to work on in the offseason.
This is where you see who is playing Fortnite all summer.
Or in Shea Patterson's case, spending too much time at the golf course. 0-1 count on Taylor Bump.
So remember that you're supposed to score more points in these kind of games. The low score does not win.
There's a strike. 0-2 on Taylor Bump. Bump singled down the left field line her first time up. Also made a fine defensive play there in the top of the second. 0-2 swings, hits this one hard into left center field. This one's back to the track, to the wall, and it is gone! A home run. Taylor Bump hits it out, and she is making a statement today. 2-run shot, and Michigan now leads by a score of 6-1. Bump is somebody who hit a lot of home runs in her high school career down in Florida, a pretty talent-rich area. Has not translated yet at Michigan, but we're starting to maybe see some of that power being unlocked. And
that's something that Michigan has been known for over the last few years, is taking players that maybe don't have the biggest role in year 1 or 2 and really, finding a way to bring the best out of them. Yeah. As their career progresses.
Well, that was the story of Nemitz and Subject last year.
And so, maybe Taylor Bump could be going through that kind of progression as well. And if she is, then that's just another good sign for this team. Obviously very early, but having a great day today.
1-0 on Overitis. There's another pitch high, 2-0. I was mentioning that Walker was from Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin. Her travel softball team is called the Badger Blitz. An aptly named Wisconsin team.
Wisconsin Dells is a great place. Highly recommend anybody that is listening to try and get there at some point.
It's a strike, 2-1. That's got a bunch of
great fun
water parks, right?
Yeah, great fun for the kids. Fantastic fun for the kids. Some electric water parks / hotels there.
The wind up the pitch, swinging a high fly ball into right field.
Bye-bye.
Watch it fly. Gone, a home run. And Morgan Overitis thumps one out to right field. 7-1 Michigan on top.
So where if you're Michigan State, you had a chance to end the inning, and you throw the ball in the dirt past the first baseman, and now you've proceeded to give up 4 runs in this inning. And, you got to use it as a teaching point like you mentioned, but teaching point's got to be that, when we have a chance, you got to take it. You cannot play with your food and let it fall on the floor, and that's kind of what Michigan State has done here in the bottom of the second inning.
Now 7-1 Michigan on top. There's a called strike to Jimenez.
Now we're only 9 runs away from the score of last year, Alex.
0-1 is low. There's a swing and a ground ball over to short. Booted at first. Throw is going to be in time for the out. And that'll finally end the inning. Our score 7-1. Michigan on top over Michigan State.
And Alex, do you know what day today is?
No.
Today is Leif Erikson Day.
Oh, right, Leif Erikson Day. I did know that.
Popularized by the SpongeBob episode.
Yes.
Did you watch SpongeBob growing up?
Not a lot.
I was a big SpongeBob fan growing up. Learned a lot of lessons from SpongeBob. I'm pleased to announce that. And I will say that that study that came out all those years ago about how SpongeBob, like watching SpongeBob made you dumber or something like that.
Yeah.
Said like the way the images on the screen, I don't know, some stupid science that they came up with, but I would like to donate my brain to that research project at some point and almost devalidate that entire claim, because I was pretty smart, I'd say, growing up, and I probably watched about as much SpongeBob as anybody possibly could. So I would like to personally refute that entire claim. Happy Leif Erikson Day.
Well, we're getting ready now for the top of the third inning. Michigan leads Michigan State 7-1. Sarah Schaefer back out there for another inning. And the first pitch is a little low and outside, 1-0 on Erica Holt. It's 2-3-4 in the Spartan order here in the top of the third. Holt, Joyner, and Meach. As Michigan put 4 on the board in that second inning, and early on it was defensive struggles as there's a pitch or called for a strike up at the letters. Early on, it was defensive struggles for the Spartans, committing 2 errors, but then it turned into a power showcase as Taylor Bump and Morgan Overitis hit back-to-back home runs to supercharge MSU, or Michigan against MSU in this game. There's a swing and a scooper right into the glove of Sarah Schaefer. I guess that bounced before it got up in the air, but she threw over to first anyway, so looked like out of the air to me, but
I didn't think it
out
bounced
all
either.
the same. Now Schaefer gets ready to face Lainey Joyner. Pitch is down a little low. Well, Schaefer's somebody who we were talking about before this game that probably her most famous moment at Michigan was a perfect game she threw on her birthday in a game that you were at.
Yeah, I know. Having to be there in Miami of Ohio at that little tournament in Oxford, Ohio. And
Yep.
yeah, to me, she's the best pitcher because how many times do you see a perfect game, huh?
Yeah, it was.
How many times do you get to broadcast a perfect game at that? So
It was a special moment in her career.
as a freshman, too.
Yeah. 2-0 is a called strike 2-1, and that was the day after the Jordan Poole shot.
That was a heck of a weekend, man.
Yeah, that you watched in a motel in
Liberty,
Indiana.
What a place. Great Bob Evans for breakfast.
Yeah, that was a tournament in mid-March of 2018 as there's a foul back, 2-2. Wasn't there Indiana Fort Wayne was there, the Mastodons?
Yeah, I believe it was Robert Morris, Miami of Ohio, Fort Wayne, and us, Michigan.
Yeah.
I believe those were the 4 schools of that tournament.
Yeah, Michigan cleaned up in that one. 2-2 is down low, 3-2. We do not know the Michigan regular season schedule yet for this upcoming season. That's something that we hope to learn soon. Normally it comes out in early November is my recollection. And then we will update all of you with our travel plans accordingly. 3-2 coming, swing and a miss. And Schaefer collects her second strikeout, the first one that actually gets notched as an out though. And they're 2 down in the top of the third. The one thing we do know so far is Michigan will be back in Raleigh again for the ACC Chapel Hill. Maybe it's Raleigh. I'm trying to remember. We were in Chapel Hill last year.
Oh, close enough.
But Michigan will be in North Carolina again for Big Ten ACC tournament as there's a ball low, 1-0 to Mackenzie Meach. Because it's a little unusual. There's that huge softball tournament down in Clearwater, Florida this spring that 4 Big Ten teams were selected to, and that counts as their Big Ten ACC Challenge games. But Michigan was not selected. I believe it was Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, and somebody else. There's a swing and a miss, 1-2. So Michigan will be in North Carolina instead for their Big Ten ACC Challenge. One count, the windup, and the pitch is a little low to Mackenzie Meach. Two and one the count, the windup and the delivery, swinging a ground ball right back up the middle, and that's a base hit into center field for Mackenzie Meach. Lexi Blair, who has now moved over from left to center, fields it out there, and Spartans get their 4th hit of the game and deny Schaefer her first 1-2-3 inning. 1 aboard with 2 outs.
Michigan State's going to get a pinch runner in as well.
Rally with NC State. It's actually an exact replay of last season, as Louisville and North Carolina will be the other teams in the Big Ten ACC tournament that Michigan has been assigned to. Minnesota and Northwestern were the 2 that were sent to Clearwater. They will be facing Florida State and Virginia Tech. In Durham, Indiana and Rutgers will face Duke and Syracuse. In Atlanta, Iowa and Nebraska will face Boston College and Georgia Tech. And these Michigan State Spartans will be sent to Clemson, South Carolina to take on the Tigers and the Pitt Panthers.
Well, probably more enjoyable to be sent down to that part of the country than for them to come here at that time of the year.
Could get a Snow Bowl softball game.
Call it Alaskan baseball.
Yeah. Do you know that there's an Alaska League? College summer baseball?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, like,
0-2, swinging a fly ball to left field. This one's well hit. It's back, and it is off the base of the wall, scooped up quickly, and the throw into third base, nicely executed by Audrey Leclerc to hold the runners on. Now it'll be runners on second and third, as that'll go down as a double for Kennedy Wiley, and now MSU threatening here in the bottom, the top of the third.
When I was a kid, we played this thing called Alaskan baseball, and so the idea of the game was that you had a kickball, which is like kind of the Alaskan part, where it's like this big yellow ball, so that's what the Alaskans could see because they couldn't see a baseball in the snow. And so there'd be 2 teams, and one team would just throw the ball as far as they could, and then they'd all get in a circle, and someone would have to run around that circle as many times as they possibly could before the other team went and all lined up and handed the ball to the back of the line. And then once the ball got to the back of the line, they yelled stop, and the team running stopped, and then they counted how many times they ran around the circle, and that was how many runs they got that inning.
That is definitely interesting.
That's what the Eskimos do.
Yeah, there's a college summer baseball league out in Alaska. It's the Alaska Baseball League. My broadcast partner this summer out in the D.C. area knew some people from his college, Arizona State, that were out in Alaska this summer.
Oh, man, what a move.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are 5 teams, and you have to fly to most of the games.
You can't drive anywhere in Alaska, yeah.
There's a ball outside 1-0 as
Take a
Caitlin
boat or fly.
Hendershot steps in. Yeah, there's 2 teams in Anchorage, so if you work for those teams, you can drive back and forth. But
I wonder what the attendance is like. Wow.
1-0 count, and that's a strike on the outside edge. Well, you never have to worry about putting lights on your stadium because it's always sunny in the summer. So
Alaska in the summer is great, actually. I've been there before.
Not too hot.
A lot of seafood. Good stuff.
One coming, swinging a ground ball foul. 1-2 on Hendershot, who flew out to left field to end the first. That was the only frame so far where Michigan State has gotten runs across, but they have gotten runners into scoring position in every inning so far. Schaefer has done well to strand most of those base runners. Schaefer checks the wristband, spins the ball in the hand, gets ready to wind up and deliver. That one fouled back. The shade from the left side now covering about a half of the infield as there's a swing and a high fly ball into center field. Moving over is Lexi Blair, and she is there for the out. So that'll end the inning. Michigan strands some MSU base runners yet again, and they get through the third, still leading MSU 7-1 here in the fall softball, and WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball. Back out there again, Allie Walker. Or actually, no, that looks like a new pitcher.
It is. 16.
That's Leah Ship. Yeah, Ship at 5'7", a hair shorter than the 6-foot Allie Walker. Essentially the difference between Alex Storako and Megan Bobian. I believe Bobian is 5'6" or 5'7", and Storako pushing 6 feet.
Well, Michigan State's going to need to get as much pitching development as they can.
The defense will need to be better in this half inning, for sure. 3 errors through 2 defensive frames. Ugly thus far.
Ugly was a word that came up at our WCBN meeting this week.
Yeah.
The question was, what is your favorite ugly win? And, I mean, a lot of people just went with Michigan games. I went with the old Michigan-Minnesota game.
Yeah.
Several Halloween nights ago. That
2015.
Goal line stand on 4th down. That one stood out in my mind. But one of the answers was particularly noteworthy. They said, rough quote here, but my favorite ugly victory was 2 years ago on this day when Michigan beat MSU at home in a monsoon. And if you do a little bit of quick math, 2 years ago would have been the 2017 game, which Michigan did not win.
The John O'Korn 5 turnover game.
They even cited that stat. They said when John O'Korn threw 5 interceptions or something.
Yeah.
They still got the game outcome wrong.
There's a strike to Hannah Carson. We were
extremely confusing answer that needed to be redacted.
0-1 count. And that one gets a piece of Hannah Carson inside. Down to first base she goes with a hit by pitch. My answer was very on brand. It was an obscure Lions game from years ago. But I very easily could have said the extra inning marathon against James Madison here at Alumni Field, the tournament last year. Michigan held scoreless through, I believe, 12 innings and then won it in the 13th on the Madison Uden walk-off. That was one of my favorite games I've ever called over the past 2 seasons. LeClaire shows bunt, pulls it back for a called strike. Audrey LeClaire, somebody who we only briefly mentioned her first time up as she grounded out to the pitcher her first time up early in that at-bat. LeClaire, a freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, lays this one down and it just spins foul. Now the count goes to 0-2. Went to Phoenix Country Day High School. She was the number 25 prospect nationally by Flow Softball, one of the highest rated players in that recruiting class. And she was a very, very good high school player. Strong offensive numbers. 26 career home runs over her 4 seasons. Pitch high, 1-2. She was also a basketball player. Averaged 12.3 points per game as a senior.
Huh.
Also a track athlete. Captured Arizona State titles in long jump and high jump as a senior. 1-2 coming, that one fouled off.
Talking about a dual sport athlete here, huh?
Yeah, could come in handy when she's jumping up against the wall in left field.
Just give her a track uniform.
The second Arizonan, is that it? I don't know. Anyway,
sure. Yeah, close, yeah.
on the Michigan roster, Maddie Uden, also from the Phoenix Glendale area. 1-2 high, 2-2.
Just got a text from one of my friends at Georgia. 11-0 in the second inning. Stupid Braves, man. He did not use stupid, though.
That one high, 3-2 now on LeClaire. That is the command coming and going for Leah Shipp, trying to get that off-speed pitch, and it's just rising ever so slightly out of the zone. Still down there at first is Hannah Carson. Nobody out in the inning.
It's the first full count of the night?
I believe for Michigan State is pitching. That one gets away as there's a swing and a miss. Or they say, did she make contact? Maybe she left the batter's box too early? I don't know what the call was there. As there was a swing and a miss and the ball got away from the catcher, and then the umpire immediately called out before the throw was even made down to first base. So
But Carson advanced.
Carson moves up to second on the wild pitch.
Interesting.
Hoganrod now stands in. Haley reached on an error her first time up. Well, that was last inning, came around to score on an error. Hoganrod takes that one down. Yeah, Arizonan is the demonym for Arizona. There's some very odd demonyms on this page. 1-0. That one also inside. 2-0.
What do they call someone from Idaho?
Idahoan. But then they have these other ones that are unofficial alternatives. Idaho has fortune seekers.
What? What's it even mean? Go to Idaho, you're going to look for like a potato or something, right?
Kansas, sunflower, jayhawker, grasshopper.
Dude, how about Kansas going bold the other night at that basketball event? I mean, like, that's a family event, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, you know, like your preseason basketball hype up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who approved that Snoop Dogg performance.
There's a swing and a ground ball over to third. This one is gloved, throw over to first, and the out is made. 2 outs in the inning. Joyner, the 5-3 putout. Carson stays at second, 2 outs.
Well, I almost want to say, like, whoever approved that Snoop Dogg performance, should almost like get a raise or something for finding a pathway to get that approved through all the necessary university channels. It's like you don't just show up and like do that, you know? Like that's got to go through some sort of like sign off first from multiple people. So whoever got that done, like they should get a raise.
2 outs for Lexi Blair. That one is a strike on the outside edge. We're referring to was it the basketball kickoff night?
Midnight Madness.
Midnight Madness at Kansas featured a Snoop Dogg concert that was littered with adult entertainment, we might say.
Extracurricular activities. As I like to put it, the weekend warrior.
Yeah, it was appalling to various parents of small children at the event. There's a ball down in the dirt. Carson tries to advance. The throw over is in time. And a catcher guns down a catcher over at third base. Wiley throws out Carson trying to advance. Blair's at bat will be resumed when we reach the bottom of the fourth. But for now, at the end of 3, Michigan 7, Michigan State 1. You're listening to WCBN Sports' coverage of Michigan softball.
That Snoop Dogg performance was also a perceived slap in the face to the NCAA.
Yes.
Just days or I don't even think it was really weeks. I mean, really just a short amount of time after the NCAA handed out a notice of allegations that would be coming towards the program. So just a complete disregard for all, procedural, normalities, I guess, that could go with a Midnight Madness event.
Yeah.
And really quite the spectacle from the Jayhawk athletic program.
I have a pitching change now for Michigan. We have stepping in Megan Bobian, wearing the sunglasses as usual. She warms up now in the circle, taking over for Sarah Schaefer, who ends up going 3 innings, surrendering 5 hits, but just 1 run. A bumpy but largely successful performance for Schaefer, and now the star lefty takes over. One of the things we've talked about through Bobian's first 2 years here at Michigan is trying to limit her workload. She's had to shoulder a lot of weight, especially as a freshman. It was less so the case last season, but when it got to the postseason, outside of the nerve-wracking save for Alex Storako in the Big Ten title game, Bobian was yet again who was relied on by Michigan in that Big Ten tournament and in the NCAAs. And whether that will change here on a season when you have a returning pitcher in Storako, Schaefer an option, and also bringing in Chandler Dennis, how that exactly affects everything is going to be interesting to watch. But she gets ready to stride out there. She's had great numbers in her career against Michigan State. Have to think she'll probably get a couple innings, and then we might see one more pitching change. The shade now covering about 2/3 to 3/4 of the infield, starting to creep into the outfield as well, as Katie Quinlan is ready to lead off. First pitch a little outside. Quinlan, standing 5'4", from Granger, Indiana. Bobian puts the ball in the glove, the windup and the pitch, swinging a line drive into left field, a base hit. That one just over the head of Taylor Bump. Might have actually had a play on it, just unable to get the glove there.
Yeah, Quinlan having a pretty nice afternoon as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a very nice slap hit, just hit way too hard to really conceivably handle by Bump at third base, and finds herself on base once again.
Well, that's always tough for a fielder like Taylor Bump, because you're pulled in because of the speed of the slap hitter, and then you get one right in the face like that. Just in self-protection mode, almost playing defense, as there's a strike on the outside edge. Jenny Walsh. Walsh playing shortstop today at 5'10", extremely tall for a shortstop. You tend to see the taller players play either pitcher like Alex Storako and Allie Walker today, or first base like where Taylor Bump normally plays, but shortstop where you tend to see more in the Natalia Rodriguez mold. MSU trotting out 5'10" at that position. It's ball 1-1, the count. Bunt shown again, and that one's a strike at the knees, 1-2. Jenny Walsh, a freshman from St. John's, Florida, played for the Florida Storm. It's a suburb of Jacksonville, is St. John's, Florida. Wind up the 1-2, swing and a miss. And there's that perfect off-speed delivery that we see so often from Megan Beaubien, pulling the string for the first out.
Yep, the patented changeup. I mean, she just gets you going with a fastball, and then you get just so anxious to swing that when she times it up with the off-speed stuff, then you're left looking foolish.
Beaubien stands on the rubber, gets ready to wind up, deliver that pitch, swinging a high pop-up into shallow center field. Blair having to deal with the sun. She comes in and makes the play. A one pitch out to Abby Joseph, and now two gone, runner still on first as Katie Ladd gets ready to come in. Beaubien has had so many achievements in her time at Michigan already, but the 12-inning shutout against James Madison in the regional with 12 strikeouts is maybe the best performance of her entire career. Pitch low, 1-0, and that was the story of that was that same changeup. And when she is able to get that changeup cooking, combined with the velocity on the fastball, she's unhittable.
Yeah, we've seen those moments when she is unhittable, and
yeah,
it's just incredible to watch when she is completely locked in.
Wind up the 1-0, off speed, called strike.
Some umpire likes to take his time with some of these strike calls.
Yeah. Well, it's, you know, you get the sense of this very relaxed atmosphere, crowd laid back. This press box is pretty empty. Certain student publication not covering this game, but we are. 1-1 is high.
Let him know, Alex.
2-1.
Let him know. Certain TV station as well.
Yeah. There is a stream on Facebook Live.
Hey, you know, Facebook's becoming a player in the sports media industry. Watch out for that.
Pitch inside, 3-1. Runner still down there at first, 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. Michigan 7, Michigan State 1.
Could be watching NFL games on Facebook soon.
Yeah. Well, there have been some games streamed on Yahoo in the past. That's their Thursday night game, I remember. The wind up, the 3-1 on the way. That one's high, and that is a walk to Katie Ladd, so now 2 aboard.
Number 12, Erica Holt.
That'll bring up Erica Holt with 2 on and 2 outs. Now a meeting in the pitcher's mound with Jennifer Brundage. Should be noted that Katie Ladd, who just drew that walk, now has a sister on the MSU team, Sarah Ladd, a freshman pitcher. Some infield conversations going on as well as umpire speaking to the coaching staff, now ready to get this game back underway. This is the last we will see of the Michigan softball team until the late winter / early spring, depending on how you think of early February. But the final tune-up until then. In the past, Michigan has played that opening tournament in Tampa, Florida, normally with the Florida Gators there. We're not sure if that will take place again. If it does, we will be there. If it doesn't, we will be somewhere else. But we always make sure to cover some of those early season tournaments. So strike 0-1. And if you would like to see us at some of those events, you can always donate.
Can we take Venmo?
0-1, swinging a foul back, 0-2, just like that, pounding the zone quickly. Beaubien to get ahead of Erica Holt. It definitely would be convenient to have a closer tournament like the Oxford one a couple years ago. There's also one in Kentucky in 2017 that we sent people to. Those are drivable. 0-2 off speed, got her at the top of the zone, and Beaubien gets a strikeout looking on the changeup to freeze Holt, and the inning ends. We'll go to the bottom of the fourth, 7-1. Michigan on top over Michigan State.
We just got to wait for global warming to take over a little bit more and then have a lot more regionalized tournaments. Don't worry.
Well, Michigan also normally goes out to the Judy Garmin in the Los Angeles area. We have thought about that in the past, but have declined traveling out there. Looks like we got a couple youth softball players over to our right.
The future of the program.
I was out at field hockey on Sunday. It was a great environment. I had never been to that complex before, but very nice.
Amazing complex.
Yeah, great team. That was also a Michigan State game. Michigan outshot MSU 35-1 in that game and outscored them 8-0. It was a beatdown.
It's a mauling.
And men's soccer going on tonight. That will be also on our YouTube page at 7:30. That is Michigan and Detroit Mercy. We will have Daniel Thompson, Charlie Brigham, and Jared Greenspan on the call for that one. Then we have hockey, their first regular season games this weekend. Michigan and Clarkson on Friday and Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. And you will be in Champaign, Illinois for football against the Fighting Illini.
Taking the trip down with Nick Hornberg to go watch Michigan take on a Lovie Smith coach team and all that that's made out to be.
Lexi Blair ready to stand in. She was at the plate when Hannah Carson was thrown out to conclude that third inning. She takes the first pitch high for a ball from Leah Shipp. This is a busy time right here, and then normally right around March, April is when our coverage gets busy with a lot of different things going on. 1-0 is a ball, 2-0.
We've done a great job so far upholding our commitment to really get around to all the different sports. I mean,
yeah.
You talk about what we've been able to broadcast so far this school year. I mean, you got both the soccer programs have had some games on, field hockey, volleyball. We're doing this, football, of course.
Pitch low, 3-0.
So we've done a good job getting around, and hopefully we can continue to produce at a high level.
Well, and we talk about the recruiting class for softball. We've gotten a pretty good recruiting class here at WCBN Sports. Some new faces you'll see on different broadcasts, or actually you'll never see them. You'll hear their faces.
We've all got faces for radio, just beautiful faces.
3-1.
To hide behind a microphone.
Well, we are starting to do pregame content now, pregame videos. We've done that for football, and that might become a thing for softball as well when the season gets rolling.
I'm too ugly for that.
3-1 the count on Lexi Blair. There's the called strike, 3-2, and we're trying to get some new folks ready to go for the softball season, and you'll start hearing from them once they've been properly vetted.
Baseball's going to be a hot commodity
this year. In the spring, yeah. (3-2), swinging a fly ball into left field. This one well hit. It will get down, just tucked inside the left field line, and Lexi Blair will collect a double. She's now 2 for 3 on the day with 3 hard-hit balls.
We should do golf and tennis, too.
You can try putting that one on radio if you'd like. So that'll bring up Natalia Rodriguez, runner on second. Nat Rod did a sacrifice her first time up, and she's looking to do that again, pulling the bunt back and taking it for ball 1. And now a conversation in the circle will ensue with the entire infield. That looks like assistant coach Ben Sorden heading out there for the Spartans. Runner on second, nobody out here in a 7-1 Michigan advantage. Like to send our best wishes to our old friend Jeremy Parks, now departed. Got to see him last weekend.
He's really living it. He's got a hard life right now.
I believe he's in
admissions
Lincoln.
counselor or something like that.
A recruiter, yeah, for Johns Hopkins. He's, I believe, out in Lincoln, Nebraska right now. It's a called strike.
Dude basically gets paid to go on vacation and eat whatever he wants.
1-1 count on Rodriguez. There's a called strike on the outside edge, 1-2.
There's Lexi Blair in that three-point stance at second base as well.
Yep, she's ready to go if Rodriguez can get this bunt down in fair territory.
Maybe Dennis, right? You said was the track, or no? Who's the track star?
LeClaire.
LeClaire taught them all how to get in the track stance.
There's a pitch high, 2-2. Well, she was a jumper, not a runner, so maybe she ran too. I don't know. She was just very good at jumping. That's the part we know, is that she held Arizona State titles in those categories. It's a topic of conversation for a future interview. There's a swing and a miss. Strike 3 in the first out of the inning.
Number 14, Lou Allen.
We are going to try to do a East of the Rockies fall episode at some point, but right now a lot of us are drowning in schoolwork, so that may come in a couple weeks. We hope to get some interviews accompanying that. First pitch to Lou Allen is a called strike. Lou has singled and reached on an error today. Offense for Michigan really been coming from 4 spots in particular: Blair, Allen, Bump, and Overitis. Here's a called strike, 0-2. Lexi 2 for 3, Lou 1 for 2, Bump 2 for 2, Overitis 1 for 1 with a walk. They've been really producing so far, and they've scored 5 of Michigan's 7 runs. Blair down there at second, 0-2 count, 1 out in the inning. The pitch swinging a ground ball over to short. This one pretty deep in the hole, double clutching and then making the play is Jenny Wash for the out.
Out number 2.
And that'll bring up Taylor Bump, who has a single and a home run so far.
Let's see if she can keep her good day going.
Bump stands in there and takes the first pitch for a called strike, 0-1. One coming is down and away, 1-1. Bump from the Tampa, Florida area. Always gets to play in front of the home crowd in that early season tournament in Tampa. 1-1 off speed for a strike, 1-2. Team most memorably had to stay at her house overnight after the flight got canceled after the trip when Bump was a freshman.
I don't even know how you have room to fit that many people inside of a house, period.
There's a pitch outside, 2-2. Get your sleeping bags out.
But, like, just floor space. I mean, man. I got to see this house, man.
Take the sheets off the bed and people sleep on the floor. 2-2 count. The pitch, swinging a line drive into right field. Will it get down? No, it'll drop just foul. Bump continuing to make some good swings here. The issue in her first 2 years at Michigan has not been what happens when the ball is in play. It's been a matter of putting the ball in play. Strikeouts have been a theme, looking to shake that. here this season and has done so well so far. 2 for 2. A single and a 2-run shot her last time up. 2-2, 2 outs, runner on second. There's a swing and a foul back. Blair is off with every pitch in a 2-strike, 2-out count. Two and two the count. To wind up the pitch, just a little down and in, 3-2. The wind up, the 3-2 on the way, swing in a blooper. That'll get down into right center field, and it will score another run. Taylor Bunt gets it done again. That is an RBI single, and it's 8-1 Michigan.
Yeah, very encouraging production this afternoon from her.
Number 24, Morgan Overridis.
That'll bring up Morgan Overridis. Hit a home run her last time up. We'll see what she can do here. Looking at this Demonym page for some of the other unique ones. Apparently, some female Michigan residents like Michigoose, used specifically as a play on Michigander, if you get the gander goose.
Oh man, that's bad. That's no. That's unacceptable.
There's a pitch down and away to Overridis.
That's atrocious.
Nebraska bug eaters or cornhuskers.
Bug eaters. Let's call Daniel that today.
New Hampshire men or New Hampshire woman. 1-0 to Overridis, called strike 1-1.
What does it say for Wisconsin?
Badger and Cheesehead. Pretty typical. One on the way to Overridis is a pitch down and away. There's also for Tennessee Butternut. And Rhode Island Swamp Yankee.
Swamp Yankee. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
2-1 to Overridis. That pitch high, 3-1. Three and one on the way. Overridis swings, hits this one right back to the mound. An absolute scalding ball, bounced on one hop, and Ship makes the throw over to first. Another hard hit ball off the bat of Overridis, but that will end the inning. Another run across, and Michigan leads at 8-1 as we go to the top of the fifth.
That was a casual play, though.
Yeah.
Just very clean snag.
Illinois, there is Flatlander, Sandhiller, Egyptian, and Sucker.
What? Who made this list?
Delaware, Blue Hens Chicken, and Muskrat.
Chicken. So what's your reaction to Ben Simmons hitting a three-point shot yesterday in a preseason game?
I don't really have one. I thought he had made at least one at one point. I knew he never shoots them, but I didn't realize that he had literally never made one in the NBA.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot, just a joke, because I thought that surely
Yeah.
you had to make one, at least something in preseason at some point before. It was never.
I mean, Andre Drummond's made a few, at the buzzer where you're just heaving it, but
Finally did it though.
and it was a decent looking stroke.
Dude, that was a clean rip off the net.
Yeah.
Although, but man, dude, I've never seen someone that excited at a preseason game before. I mean, that crowd, I thought that they had just won the the East or something. Can't wait till it makes one in the regular season. The place is going to, like, explode. They're going to cancel the game right then and there. They're going to call the game right there. It's going to storm the court or something and, like, just completely interrupt all play. It's going to be awesome.
Back now for the top of the 5th. Megan Beaubien out there for her 2nd inning. Looked pretty sharp in that 4th. Gave up a hit and a walk, but overall started to round into rhythm by the end.
I don't think we're going to see Storako tonight.
We might. I don't know. We'll see.
He's got the sweats on. Let's see.
Yeah, if we do see someone, it might be Dennis, but...
Could be a good look for us.
Yeah.
Get a scout.
Line up, and the 1-0 is a strike on the outer edge, 1-1.
Really holding that glove.
Carson checks the wristband and now waits the 1-1 delivery from Beaubien. Wind up the pitch, swing and a miss. 1-2 on Lainey Joyner. It's Joyner, Meach, Wiley here in this top of the 5th. Beaubien takes a sigh and then gets ready to wind up. The 1-2 on the way. That one's up high, 2-2. Joyner today 0 for 2 with a ground out to 3rd and a strikeout swinging. So we are approaching the 6:30 hour here at Alumni Field. Two just outside. Nice job of nibbling on the edges there. Just didn't get the call. 3-2. Beaubien waits. The full count coming. That one is high and tight, and that'll be a walk to Joyner. That's a nice at-bat from her after falling down early to fight back.
I would say Beaubien's control maybe hasn't looked quite the best today, but not something that I'm going to get worried about.
We do have a defensive substitution at first base, I just noticed. Lou Allen no longer over there at first. There's a swing and a ground ball over to short. This could be 2. Relay to first. It is 2. A double play there, executed beautifully. 6-4-3. Rodriguez flipped over to Jimenez, who made the throw across to first into the glove of Lauren Essman, who I was just about to announce as the new first baseman for Michigan. Essman, one of those freshmen, wearing Amanda Vargas's old number 12. Lauren Essman from Kalamazoo, Michigan. She can also pitch too, but with so many people who are only pitchers, you can't think she's going to get a ton of opportunities, at least early. But a strong hitter as well, as there's a ball up high to Wiley. Essman was the number 65 prospect nationally by Flow Softball. 3-time Max Preps All-American. Was the Michigan Gatorade Player of the Year in softball. 3-time first team All-State. This one is a pop-up in the infield, and it's a miscommunication there as it drops in. That'll be probably a single. Essman and Jimenez, no one called for it, and so both converged, and when neither caught it out of the air, there was no one covering first. And that's a bit of a miscommunication between a couple freshmen. Those are the things that'll get ironed out in the winter.
But, I mean, you just read a nice list of accolades, and that talent is going to translate some way or another.
So that brings up Caitlin Hendershot. There's a called strike. Runner now on first. Once again, want you to thank you for joining us here on 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor for this broadcast, as well as on YouTube. Now, after a quick conversation outside the batter's box, we're ready to get going once again. Runner on first, a walk raced on a double play, and then a single that dropped in the infield. So there's a called strike to Hendershot. Leaves us with 2 outs in the inning. 8-1 Michigan over Michigan State. The windup, the 0-2, just outside, 1-2. Lauren Essman, who we were talking about over there at first, mother played volleyball at Central Michigan. One and two the count. Beaubien gets ready to wind up and deliver. That pitch just outside, a tight edge right now on the outside corner against Hendershot. Essman at 5'10", is same height as Taylor Bump, who continues to play over at third. Tied for the second tallest on the team behind Storako. Freshman pitcher Chandler Dennis clocks in at 5'9". There's a swing and a foul back to the screen. A nice at-bat right now being put together by Caitlin Hendershot. One name that we haven't said yet today, but still on the roster, just haven't played yet, Abby Skvars, who was a pitch hitter extraordinaire last year for Michigan. Two-two, that pitch is up high, and that'll go off the glove of Carson to the backstop, and the runner will advance on a wild pitch.
Well, Skvars isn't a catcher now, is she not?
Well, she is technically the backup catcher, I believe, behind Carson. Oh, she is. You're right. Yeah, they don't announce these substitutions. We don't have stat broadcast to bail us out. And there's a pitch, called strike 3 on the outside edge, and Beaubien gets out of the inning. Double play, races the first base runner, and then she sits down Hendershot for her third strikeout of the game. Yes, Skvars entered catcher at the start of that inning, apparently. You know, it's easy to tell for a lot of defensive substitutions if the player that's being inserted doesn't look like the player that used to be there, but with catcher, they're wearing so much armor.
It's like the football problem. They have a helmet on.
Yeah, you can't tell who they are.
All the stuff, yeah. If you saw him walking down the street, you wouldn't recognize him.
And now we'll go to the bottom of the fifth, still 8-1 Michigan on top.
Michigan in firm control of this game. Not that it has much implications, but it is a nice way to, really get their fall ball schedule come to a close. I mean, haven't had a win in fall ball so far, so to presumably close this thing out 8-1 and finish it up with a win would just be at least a good way to finish up the early season exhibitions. And, then from there, they're going to move into just full-on preparation for the upcoming season.
Well, whenever we do preseason interviews with the team before the February schedule begins, they always talk about how excited they are to play outdoors because all that preparation in the winter done in the indoor facility, the Donald Shepard softball complex right behind us. Julia Menes stands in and she takes a strike. This is something to ask a player about in upcoming interviews, but about a month ago, the players did a morning practice in the big house at the crack of dawn.
Oh,
It was
man.
on the softball Instagram page. Oh, 1 to Jimenez is a called strike at the bottom of the zone, 0-2. Leah Shipp back out there for a third inning of work. We've been informed that most likely the run rule is not in effect, so we'll probably play all 7, which you would expect in an exhibition affair.
Right.
0-2, that one swung on, fouled off. Obviously in an 8-1 game, Michigan right on the edge of where you would have that run rule come into effect now in the bottom of the 5th in a normal regular season contest. The windup, the 0-2, got her on the outside edge. That's a nice pitch from Leah Shipp to collect her third strikeout. Having more success against this Michigan batting order than did Allie Walker.
I mean, really, if you take away that 4-run second inning for Michigan where that ball gets past first base and then give up all those runs after that, I mean, it's still a lot of runs to give up, but it's a lot more respectable than what the score is right now. Cuts it in half.
Now here's Abby Skvarce officially stepping in. Yeah, Shipp had to redshirt her freshman season after a leg injury forced her to miss the entire 2018 season. Last year as a redshirt freshman, didn't have great numbers, but was still recovering from those injury issues, had nagging problems all year, and so like Lou Allen, somebody trying to finally get healthy. Oh, 0-2 on Skvarce. Shipp winds up the pitch, swinging a ground ball high and bouncing over to second. Nice play right there by Katie Ladd. Quick scoop from the basket catch, and now 2 quick outs here in this inning.
Madison Uden for the first time tonight.
Yep,
Expecting a big year out of her. I mean,
senior season.
plenty of production so far in her Michigan career, and now her chance to lead this team.
Yeah, Uden, she comes in, and we talked about not a part of a tremendously big freshman or senior class rather. When they came in as freshmen, it was not highly touted in terms of recruiting at all. She was really the only piece of that group to be a nationally ranked recruit. Hoganrod has established herself as such in the meantime. And then you have Skvarce, obviously, and Thais Gonzalez as well. 0-1 is high, 1-1, but Uden trying to prove that senior class has something left in the tank in this final season. We also have a pinch hitter now in the on-deck circle. Lexi Voss will be coming in, another freshman, to relieve Hoganrod. She'll come up if Uden can get aboard here. 1-1 the count. Wind up the pitch. There's a strike on the outside edge. One-two is high, 2-2. Sun is now officially set below the Alumni Field bleachers, as that one's low, 3-2. The entire field crowd covered in shade and the lights on, the light fixtures.
Well, the hours of daylight will continue to decline.
Yep.
So.
Three and two the count. Uden trying to draw walk and get aboard. The pitch, swinging a high pop-up into shallow left field. Coming in is Joseph, and she makes the play. So that is at long last, a 1-2-3 inning for the Spartans. We will go to the 6th, 8-1 Michigan on top. It looks like some more defensive replacements. Gianna Carasoni headed out there to the shortstop position. Voss will stay in right, and Thais Gonzalez has come in left. LeClaire had been pinch hit for by Uden there, so Uden will just get that one at bat and then will exit, I believe, unless she's going to come out at third base to relieve Balplata. Switching around, this is where the lineup card gets used plentifully. Try to get everybody in there.
Gotta evaluate everybody while you can. Last game-like action against another opponent until the winner.
Beaubien now gets ready to warm up, and it does appear that Uden is going to stay in at third, so Bump is the one who will be pushed out, or bumped out, you might say. Katie Quinlan gets ready to stride in. Quinlan, Wash, and Joseph, the bottom of the order here in the top of the 6th for the Spartans. Beaubien back out there. The infield pulled in. First pitch called strike. A 1 swing and a foul back. And Overitis now playing second base for Jimenez. So for those trying to figure out how this all adds up, Uden at third, Kirasoni at short, Overitis at second, Essman at first, and then in the outfield, Thais Gonzalez, Lexi Blair, and Lexi Voss. The Lexi show in the outfield. 0-2 is high. And Skvarse behind home plate. Beaubien in the circle, and I have no idea who's the DP at this point with all the shuffling going on. I can only tell you who's on the field right now. Without stat broadcast, it's a little unclear.
That's how they did it in the old days, Alex.
Yeah. 1-2 is pitch high, 2-2. Have you ever heard the story of how allegedly Tiger outfielder Norm Cash came out to face Nolan Ryan when Nolan Ryan was throwing a no-hitter at Tiger Stadium with a table leg as a bat? So there's a swing and a miss by Katie Quinlan for the first out.
What?
Yeah, Norm Cash said allegedly that he wasn't going to hit him with a bat anyway, so might as well try and hit him with the table leg.
They let him on the field?
That's an old-time story for you.
Wow.
There's a swing and a foul back off the bat of Jenny Wash. So the temperature now starting to drop a little bit. We were at 60.
The mornings are cool. The mornings are
game
pretty
time.
cool. And then it warms up.
Yeah.
It's pretty sizable temperature change throughout the day.
63 right now as there's a swing and a miss by Wash.
So when I walk out of my house at 6:32 a.m. every morning and it's 40 outside, but I know I can't dress for the cold because otherwise I'll be in trouble in the afternoon.
Wind up in the pitch, swinging a pop-up in the infield. We'll see if there is room. Moving over is Essman, and she makes the play, leaning over the railing above the Michigan dugout for the out.
Well, great concentration from the young freshman.
Number 13, Abby Joseph.
And that'll bring up Abby Joseph. Joseph stands in. Lefty hitter against the lefty Beaubien. First pitch way high. Ball 1-0. Michigan dugout very vocal right now. MSU dugout not so much.
They're just waiting to get home and do some homework.
1-0 swing and a foul back. 1-1 count.
$13-1 in favor of the Cardinals now.
There's that great changeup for a called strike 1 and 2. Just a beatdown in Atlanta. Dodgers Nationals tonight. What could go wrong with the Washington Nationals in a Game 5?
Yeah, I know. I wonder if they'll show up or not.
1-2, just low. It's been a
Oof.
tight zone since Beaubien has come in. Beaubien spins the ball in the left hand, rubbing it against the pant leg, and then gets ready to wind up. 2-2 on its way. That one's high, 3-2. Beaubien waits. It's ready to wind up. 3-2. Check swing, one around. Strike 3, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Beaubien. She is now up to 5 strikeouts on the day. Looking very sharp as we will go to the bottom of the 6th. Michigan 8, Michigan State 1. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and 88.3 WCBN FM Ann Arbor. Ready for the bottom of the 6th. Some of the crowd has filed out, but still a decent showing.
Yeah, I'd say solid showing for fall exhibition.
I'd estimate attendance probably at, I don't know, 300 maybe.
Yeah, somewhere between
Very
maybe 300, 400,
solid.
500. Yeah.
The seats here behind the infield decently covered. The outfield a little sparse, but
Yeah.
as you'd expect for a 5 p.m. weekday exhibition. Good excuse to get out of work early. Or class in my case, but baseball team's been practicing for a long time. They were practicing when we got here.
Yeah, they've been
around
going.
4:15, and now it's almost 2.5 hours later.
Yeah, I do wonder when their official practices really do get started.
Well, batting practice takes so dang long.
Well, yeah. So individualized.
Yeah.
Leading off the 6th inning for the Wolverines, number 11, Lexi Foss.
So Lexi Foss gets ready to lead off. She was in the on-deck circle for Haley Hoganrod in that last inning. That pitch is down and away. Voss wearing number 11, Natalie Peters' old number. Voss from Palos Park, Illinois. Given what we learned earlier about demonyms, you could call her an Egyptian. There's a called strike 1-1.
The Egyptian from Illinois.
Voss was the number 49 prospect nationally by Flow Softball, number 32 by Extra Innings Softball. She was an excellent hitter in high school. So there's a called strike 1 and 2, especially with the power. Swatted 19 homers as a junior in 2018, and Michigan would love to see if that power can translate. First team All-American in 2018 by Flow Softball Extra Inning and Max Preps. 1-2, swing and a miss. And you see the big hitter swing there. Waving and missing for the first out.
Yeah, like you said, big swing, but it's going to be an adjustment to college pitching and playing time. Not going to get your fair share of strikeouts. Not going to be easy like in high school.
That brings up Lexi Blair. Lexi today 2 for 3, a very typical day, and her one out was a very hard hit ball to right field. And speaking of power, that's something to watch with Blair this upcoming season. It was really the only thing she lacked formally last season, and with the great defense and stellar batting average, there's a strike 0-1, but she did have solid power. I mean, she was advertised as more of a Natalie Peters type, but she hit 6 homers last season, including the walk-off in the Big Ten tournament against Illinois. So if she could get up to that, let's say 9 or 10 homers, that would be a legitimate power threat in the orders. There's a swing and a soft tapper over to short. Going to have to be a tough play, and didn't get her. Pulled her off the bag, I think.
Again, I mean,
Blair, it will probably be her second infield single of the day. We'll see how it's marked.
So many throws, just not where they need to be, precisely on the money. And Michigan's gotten on base through the singles quite a few times as a result.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if Blair, already 6 homers with that speed is dangerous. If she could get up to that 9 or 10, and you combine the speed that she just had right there getting down the line, that is an all-around player. So we now get ready for next at bat. See who it is. Looks like another pinch hitter getting ready to stride in.
12.
Yeah, no, that looks like Essman, I think. It was looking like number 2 for a second. Now it is 12, yep. Essman. We've already seen Schelleman used early, who was number, or that is Schelleman. Yeah, so Essman will bat here. Schelleman will come back to bat in the 3 spot. But Carasoni, who came in for Natalia Rodriguez, which is what spot in the batting order we are, must be somewhere else. I would assume she's now in for bump. It's just a mess right now. My makeshift score sheet is all over the place.
I respect the effort, man. I respect that guy, that effort. I don't even know how to do that, so.
I got used to doing it over the summer.
That's right. Going to the summer ball.
There's a swing and a hard hit ball to center field. This one's deep, and it is off the top of the wall. And Lexi Blair will score, and an absolute bomb off the bat of Essman comes a foot short of being a line drive home run, but it can't get hit any harder than that. I mean, that was to the wall within about a second.
Yeah, that was a line off the bat, just straight at the wall. And I mean, if the ball comes off that hot and that hard, as an outfielder, you got no time to run under it, get over there at all. And yeah, Lexi Blair's too fast to even bother throwing it in. So Michigan's still playing.
So now that brings up Grace Schelleman. There's a called strike. Oh, 1 called strike on the outer edge, 0-2. So the run scores, it's now 9-1 Michigan, and indeed we are not using the run rule. That would have ended the game in a normal circumstance. That double from Essman, the windup and the pitch. Schelleman takes it outside. Single and a double after a leadoff strikeout here in this 6th inning. 1-2, Schelleman pops this one up. It'll drop into shallow left field, and now they're waving Essman around, and now they'll hold her instead. She has to dive back into third, but advancing to second on the throw is the speedy Schelleman. That'll be a single. We're now runners on second and third, still only 1 out.
Michigan's been peppering that fair territory right past third base all night.
Yeah.
Whether it's intentional or not, it's been working.
Well, and previously we had seen them off the hop. That one was just a little blooper that managed to drop in there. As Thais Gonzalez now ready to stand in. So Gonzalez is batting for bump. And in the on-deck circle is still Overitis, who had moved into second. So the only place Carasoni could possibly be is in for Jimenez in the 7 or the 6 slot. There's the called strike 0-1. It's like solving a puzzle. Trying to find the Gianna Carasoni in the batting order. 0-1 count on Gonzalez. She swings and hits this one into shallow left field. Same spot again, and coming over and making the play is the left fielder, Joseph.
Number 24, Morgan.
So now Overitis gets ready to stand back in. She's got a walk, a home run, and a ground out. That was very hard hit. It was a liner right back to the circle. See if she can do some damage standing in. And you can feel now a little bit colder. It's starting to come through this open window. Wind up in the pitch, down and in. Runners on second and third, 2 outs, 9-1. Michigan on top over Michigan State in the bottom of the 6th. This game just about to hit the 2-hour mark, rather long for a softball game. This one is swung on and hit well by Overitis, but high into the air, and Joseph is there. So a couple flyouts to left will end the 6th. Michigan gets 1 on a ball smoked off the bat of Lauren Essman. And now we go to the top of the 7th. The only question left, I think, is whether Michigan will come back up one more time or not. Sometimes that does happen in exhibitions. And it does appear that they're going to let Beaubien take this final inning. Well, so far, standouts in this game for Michigan, I think. Taylor Bump's the most obvious. Followed, I mean, Blair, obviously, a standout in the way she always is.
But it's, I mean, say we set the standard for her.
Lou Allen, a solid single.
Overitis,
obviously, the home run, and then Essman, the near home run. I think those are the storylines.
And the catch over the dugout, so. Yeah, no, a lot of good things. A lot of good things we saw today, for sure. Now you have the chance to, just go back to work for a few months and put it all together.
The infield ready to have a quick conversation as we get ready to go here. That'll be the top of the order for Michigan State in the top of the 7th. Katie Ladd ready to step in. Ladd, Holt, and Joyner here in the top of the 7th. First pitch, tad inside. Beaubien came in the 4th and has pitched confidently. A strike. Oh boy, I thought that was more of a ball than the first pitch that was called a ball, and this one is called a strike. So 1-1. Tune up for everybody here today.
Fall ball for the umps too.
Beaubien puts the ball in the glove. The windup, the 1-1. It's a little down and in, 2-1. Crowd is thinned out a little bit in the later stages of this matchup. Beaubien winds up, 2-1 on its way. That one skips in, 3-1. Now coming over to offer a word of encouragement, senior leader Madison Uden. Essman pulled in slightly at the line on first as well. Most of the players for Michigan braving the dropping temperatures. Thais Gonzalez out there in left, though, with the long sleeves on under the uniform. That one swinging a solid single into right field off the bat of Ladd. Ladd had the triple to lead off the game in the first. She's been one of the only consistent hitting threats for this MSU team. Beaubien had retired 4 straight prior to that. The third hit, she's allowed 1 walk as well, 5 strikeouts, and a double play. That was a standard ground ball double play, which is pretty rare in college softball.
Yeah, with a shorter base paths.
Wind up and a foul back to the screen. 0-1. Wind up the 0-1 pitch. That one is a little high. This is a pinch hitter, Courtney Callahan, sophomore, standing 5'3", a very compact strike zone. That one off speed floats in for a called strike, 1-2. Still none out in this top of the 7th. One and 2 count. The pitch, that's a strike 3 on the outside edge. Beautiful. Beaubien notches strikeout number 6. Now, this is Lainey Joyner's spot in the order. Have to see if that is her indeed, as the Spartans have now finally made some changes. That does appear to be number 5, which would be Joyner. The windup and the called strike at the top of the zone. One on the way is high, 1-1. Just learned that the Big Ten softball tournament for 2020 will be held in Illinois, Champaign, Illinois.
Likes to move around, I guess.
Yep. 1-1 on the way is a called strike.
Have you been to that softball diamond yet?
Illinois?
Yeah.
No.
So will you get to add that one to your list?
I was hoping it would be Northwestern or something, but.
Oh, with Chicago?
Yeah.
Come on, man, that'd be too easy.
Well, they got a good team nowadays, so 1-2 count. That one floats high, 2-2. Michigan last hosted the Big Ten tournament in 2017. Before that, it was Penn State in 16, Ohio State in 15, Wisconsin in 18, Indiana last year in 19, now Illinois in 2020. Continues to rotate around. 2-2 coming, swing and a miss, and Beaubien collects another strikeout, number 7 on the day, as Joyner chased that ball down and outside. Appears to be McKenna Gregory, a pinch hitter. There's a swing and a miss, and now caught over between first and second. It's a base runner, Ladd, and she'll dive back in as Skvars attempted a throw, but then decided to pull it back.
Just swinging the bat on a pitch like that, it's almost like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then they just, just the effortless swing because they realized how pointless the swing was in the first place.
There is a ball a little high, 1-1. On the topic of Big Ten softball, it was an excellent year for the Big Ten last year. They had 3 hosts in the NCAA tournament, Northwestern, Michigan, and Minnesota. First time they had 3 different teams host, I believe, since it was 2007, if my memory serves me correct. 1-1 on the way, a little bit inside. And Minnesota, Northwestern able to make it into the Super Regionals, Michigan falling a little short. But a lot of those teams will roll over some of their best players. So another competitive year of Big Ten softball expected. And conference also put Illinois into the NCAA tournament, as well as Ohio State and Wisconsin. 2-1 on the way is a called strike, 2-2. And Michigan played a tough schedule last year. Just to win that Big Ten tournament alone, they had to face Illinois, followed by Wisconsin, followed by Minnesota.
Yeah.
No easy paths.
The conference is getting better and better and better, so.
2-2, a little high, 3-2. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the non-conference schedule looks like, because Michigan, of course, played in that Judy Garmin against UCLA and Washington, among others. It was a loaded non-conference, and Michigan defeated that UCLA team, and what did UCLA end up doing on the season? And won the national title. 3-2, got her on the outside edge. Bobian collects 3 straight strikeouts after allowing a leadoff walk to end the top of the 7th. And that appears to be the end of the game. Michigan will not come back out and bat one last time, and so our final score will be Michigan 9, Michigan State 1 here from Alumni Field.
Yeah, good night for softball. Weather was great, and Michigan got their first win of the fall. Comes to a close now, the exhibition games, and a lot of encouraging things came out of this game. So, full steam ahead now towards the regular season in a couple months. But other than that, you gotta like what you saw tonight, and it's fun to be back on the call as well.
Yeah, always enjoy this. This is a lot of fun to do, and as I said earlier, we will try to do one Fall East of the Rockies episode at some point, and then we'll do the season preview as usual first couple days of February before the season. Once the schedule gets rolled out, we will interact with you at that point later on. But once again, tonight, final score at Alumni Field, Michigan 9, Michigan State 1. For Lucas Vargas, Alex Drain saying good night and go blue from Alumni Field.